Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I'll be showing you how to create the UI for this payment app using Figma. So keep watching. So welcome back guys. So as usual, we're going to be starting on a blank canvas. So first we're going to bring in our frame. So for this tutorial, we're going to be using the iPhone 13 mini. And then we're going to rename this to onboarding, because we are creating the onboarding screen first. Then we're going to change it to our background color, which is 161616. And then the next step is to create our layout grid. So it's important to always create your layout grid so that your work will appear neat and you can align everything properly and follow your margins. So we're going to go over to the columns, then apply the standard for count for mobile. And then our margin is 20 for this tutorial. Then our gutter is 16. So we are done with that. So the next thing now is to bring in our status bar. So we're going to go over to assets, then type in status bar. So now we're going to click this and then click on insert instance. Now, the first thing we are going to do is to detach this instance, because we're not going to use it this way. We want the icons to align with our margin. So we're going to reset this. We're going to align this to the left, then change the margin to the distance from the end of the status bar to where the icon starts to 20. Then we're going to do the same for the left. So after we've done that, so the next thing is to remove the fill. We don't need the fill. So the last thing we are just going to do is to change the icon's color to white. So now we are good to go. So now we are now going to insert it inside this frame, which is our onboarding screen. Then we take it up. So if you notice, the status bar is kind of like overflowing. So to fix that, we're just going to change this to our frame size, which is 375. So that's the width of our frame. So if you check this, you'll confirm that is the width of our frame. So we have successfully done that. So now we can go back to our file. And now the next thing, we are going to bring in our primary color. So for our primary color, we're going to use the plugin called Foundations Color Generator. So now we are going to go over to material. Then we're going to type in our color. So our primary color is F1524C. Click on enter and change this brown to primary. And then create styles. So once you create styles, you head over here and see that your styles has been created. So now we can exit this panel now. So now we're finally set up our workspace. So it's time to go into the main design now. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to bring in the illustration of the credit card, which we'll be using for our onboarding. So to get that, we'll go over to OnDraw. So ondraw.co is where I got the illustration I used for this tutorial. I'll be dropping the link in the description so that you can follow through with the tutorial. So now we're going to search credit card. So now this is what we used. So we'll just have to click on this and then download SVG for your project. Why we're going to be downloading SVG is so that we can edit the colors later on. So then we just download SVG, and as you can see here, it's already downloading. So then I'll just go over to my download folder on my desktop and drag this to my practice file and drop. This is it. So all you just have to do is just to, when you go over to your folder, you just drag it and drop on your Figma file. It's as easy as that. You don't have to do anything. So that was basically what I did there. I just drag and drop it on the Figma file. So for this, I'm going to resize this to 285. So to do that, I'm just going to click K on my keyboard to bring in this scale panel. So I'm going to change the width to 285 and then drag it inside our project. Yes, you are. So this is it. So now we're going to change the distance from the top to this 200 pixels. So if you want to know how I made this thing display, it's just to hold Alt on your keyboard, the Alt key on your keyboard, and just use Shift and up arrow to move it in tens, basically. So now after doing this, so the next thing is to edit this SVG file now. So the main important part is getting this as an SVG so that you can visualize the color here. So now the next thing we are going to do, we are going to change this to our primary color. So we're just going to click on this icon and then head over to our primary color. So our primary color is primary 500. We click on it. Then we change this other one to white color. We actually change this to white color. So now this is what we have currently. So this is looking all good. So the next step now is to now bring in our test. So our test says get a global. So we're going to click on enter virtual card. So for this tutorial, we're going to be using DM Sans. Don't forget, we're going to be using DM Sans for our tutorial. We're going to change the font size to 24 pixels. And we're going to change this to auto. So the next thing is to change it. So this is going to be semi-bold. So this is semi-bold. So the distance from this to this, we can just set it as, let's just say 60. Oh, 80 is okay. Then we center it properly. So we are done with that. So the next thing now is we are going to bring in our subtext. So our subtext says get a global virtual, oh, I spelled that wrong, virtual card in minutes. Then full stop. Then we'll go over to the next line and make payments. Make payments whenever you want. Yep. So we're going to change this to font size of 14. And this is going to be regular. So yeah, then we center it. Okay, it's already centered. Then distance between this and this, we are just going to give it let's do 12. I think 12 is okay. Or let's apply auto layout to it and give it 16. I think 16 is better. Then position it to the center and make sure it still follows Yup. So the next thing we are going to do now is to create our buttons. So for our buttons, we are just going to create a frame and then change the fill to our primary color and then give it 100 pixels radius. Then we pick the text, then insert text inside, and the first button says create an account. Then we're going to change this to semi-bold because it's a city, so it needs to be very visible. Then change this to 16. Then center it properly. Then apply auto layout. Then set this to 12. And can pretty much leave the sides. You can leave anything to be on the sides because it's basically going to fill the whole space. So if we check, okay, I think it's not balanced. So we are going to change it to 335, sorry. 335. Alright, so it's balanced now. So the distance from this to this, we're going to leave it at 60. Then we're going to hold Alt and drag to create our second button. And this, the distance is going to be, let's drop it at 12. Now we're going to remove the fill and add stroke. So the stroke is going to be white. So this will be our login button. Then we hold both of them, we select both of them and apply auto layout to it. I believe we're done with our onboarding. Get ready to enter the next phase. So what we are going to do for the next section now is to create our home screen. So let's duplicate this. Let's just give it like 40. Then delete this because we're not going to need it. We're not going to be needing it for this. So now the first thing we are going to do is to create the user icon. So the user icon is going to be 40 up and 40. That's the size is going to be 40 all around. 40 pixels all around. So don't forget, let's turn on our layout grid. Yeah. So we're going to bring in our test. Write the name of our user. Sabella. Then we are going to bring in another test. Our welcome message, which is welcome, which says welcome back. So for this is going to be 14 pixels and it's going to be regular. And this is going to be 18 pixels and semi-bold. So now we select both of them and apply auto layout to it and give it a spacing of, I think spacing of 2 is okay. Then we push it forward. Then we select the icon and the user name. Then apply auto layout to it. And then set the distance to be 12. And let's confirm if it's still following our margin. Okay, we are still on track. Alright, so after doing that, the next thing we are going to do is to create a frame for our notification icon. So this is going to be, we're going to add a stroke, and the stroke is going to have a white color. Or let's reduce the color, let's change it to something not very visible. Okay, this is okay. Now, so we add like corner radius of like 8. I think 8 is okay. Yeah, 8. Then we change the size to 40. Now, yep. Then we select both of them and apply auto layout to it and change the size to 335, the width to 335 so that you can fill the whole work area. So this is already on auto, we just have to change it to center. So it aligns center. So the next thing we are going to do now is to bring in our icon. So for this, we're going to use the icon pack huge icon. So we're going to be using the huge icon library. So we're going to run it. Now we're going to go over to free and type in notification. So we're going to select this. Yeah. So now we're going to center it properly and change the outline to white. And then we're going to create a small eclipse that we're going to add think we should change it to like 8. Yeah, this is very visible. Then we'll change it to our primary color. Yep. So now the next thing, we're going to add an image to this. So for the image, we're going to use Unsplash. So we're going to search avatar and then look for a suitable image. Let's use this. So now next, so we have finally concluded this section. I'm going to change the distance from this to 20. So the next thing we are going to do now is to bring the virtual card. So now the virtual card, we're going to get the virtual card from the community, the Figma community. So I'm going to be dropping the link so you can access the community. So this is the owner of the file. I'm just going to drop the link so that you can check it out and probably use it for your practice. So now we're going to pick this. We're going to copy it. Bring it down to our file. Select we're going to change this to home. Select our home frame and click on Ctrl V, which is, and then we're going to stretch it to 335. Then distance is going to be 24. Yeah. So we've done that. So that's just what we're going to be using. There's no need recreating that. You can always head over to the Figma community, or you might as well. So for this video not to take too much time, I just decided to actually get this from the Figma community. So the next step is to create our account overview. So to create our account overview, then we'll just bring in our test, type account overview. And this is going to be DM Sans, don't forget. That's what we are going to be using throughout this project. It's going to be 18 pixels and semi-bold. So we're going to make sure it's fully in our margin, and we're going to give this distance of 24 also. So now the next step is to create our income card. And then we're going to give it a fill of 242426 and corner radius of 16. So the first thing we're going to do is to bring in the icon. So we're going to create a frame, change it to income, name the frame income. Then we're going to give it a corner radius of 100, or wherever you want to give it. So long you get like all the corners round. Then we're going to change the fill color. So for the fill color, we are going to give it I'm going to give it a fill of 00 of, let's give it 1E4325. Yep. So we're going to push it inside here, and it's going to be 16 from here and in both sides. So the next thing, we're going to bring in our test and write the income value. So this is going to be 16. Going to adjust it properly. Then take this down and change this to income. So this is going to be 14 pixels. And we're going to change it to regular. Then we'll select them both, apply auto layout, and change it to 4, and align to the right. So it's not aligning because it did fill the whole container, so we'll just have to align it manually from here. So now what we're going to do is to apply an auto layout to the whole box. And then we're going to add our icon. We're going to use a huge icon. So we're going to search for arrow. So the arrow is pointing downwards, so this is it. Yep. So we're going to center it properly and give it a fill of 009F1D. Yep. So we'll center it properly and then drag this to follow our margin. Yeah. So we're going to hold Alt and drag to duplicate. And then we're just going to add auto layout to this. Yeah. So the next thing we are going to do is to change the color for these two. So the fill color is going to be 40281D. And then we're going to change the color to F79E1B. Yeah. So we can just use the mirror effect to just change it. It's going out, which is expenses. Yep. So we are done with that. Let's check that it's corresponding. Then this whole session, we're just going to add auto layout to it. Yeah. So the next thing we're going to work on is the transaction section. So for the transaction section, we're just going to copy out this and create another header which says transactions. Then we're going to hold Alt and drag to create the see all link. So this is going to be 12, or let's make it 14 and give it regular. And this is going to be 18 as semi-body app. So we are going to select them, apply auto layout to it, change the width to 335, and then apply auto to the distance between them. Then center properly. Then we change this. So the distance between this and this is going to be 24. So now we have finished setting up this. The next thing is to now create our transaction cards. So for our transaction cards, we're just going to draw a frame, then give it the same feel we gave this guy over here. And we're going to give it the corner radius of 16. Let me check if that's too much. I think let's change it to 12. I think it's still not too much. And let's do this. Okay, let's just leave that one there the way it is. We'll check it after we are done. So now the next thing, we are going to create an area for our icon. So this is where our icon is going to stay. So our icon is going to be 40 pixels, and the distance is going to be 16 and 16. So don't worry about that. We're going to fix it with auto layout. So the next thing is since we already have like a similar thing here, we'll just copy from here by hitting Ctrl copy, then Ctrl V to paste, then drag it forward and change this to Spotify subscription. So we're going to change this to, yeah. And now we're going to duplicate this income. So because one is going to be bearing the date and the other one is going to be bearing the time. So let's let our time come first. So we are going to change it to 9 a.m. 9 a.m. And this is going to be our date. So let's just call it 08 of March 2025. So now we're going to select this and the date and the time and apply auto layout to them and make them appear in a single line. So now we're going to use distance of 12 to separate them. So if you notice, it's kind of like overflowing. So to fix that, we're just going to change the width of the container holding everything to hug. Yeah, so we finally fixed that just by clicking that. So the next thing we are going to, let me confirm the sizes. I think this size is too much, so I'll just change it to 16. And this, let's change this to 12. Yeah. And then let's change the text. Let's change the distance between them to 8. Let's see how that looks. Doesn't look bad. So the next thing is to select this and the icon and add auto layout to it. I give it a spacing of 16. No, 16 is too much. Let's use a spacing of 12. Now, once we are done with that, now we put in the value for the debit. So we're going to change this to $40. And make sure it's fully in our 16 margin and change this to, so for this is going to be 16 semi-bold. Then we select this and then add auto layout to it and click on auto. It's already on auto. So the last phase is just to add, click on the container, the transaction container. I will just transaction card. Then this is like content. Let me quickly name everything. This is content. I'll call this icon and headers. So, and this is like header, comma, date, underscore date, and then underscore time. Alright. So now that we are done with that, then we change this. If you look at this, it's still displaying the frame icon. So we're just going to add a auto layout to it. So now you see it has fixed everything. We just have to change this to 16 so that everything is looking okay. Now we've created our transaction card. So we're just going to hold Alt and drag it down to duplicate. And then we're going to use Alt to just change it to 12. So then we edit the details for this. So details for this is creator payment. And let's just leave the data. No, it's just default text. You can change it if you want to, but I'm just going to leave it. So now let's add them into one auto layer, and then select this also and apply auto layout to it. So, and this should be 16. So now that we are done with this, the next step now is to bring in our icon, our Spotify icon and our YouTube icon. So to get the YouTube and Spotify icon, the platform I used is Flat Icon, or whatever people call it. So first we're going to search for Spotify. So I'm going to drop the link to this website on the in the description. So check it out too, in case you are replicating the project. All right. So we just have to click on this, then copy PNG. And once we copy the PNG, it has indicated that we've copied. So we'll just go over here and click on the icon and right click and then go over to paste to replace. Then you hit K on your keyboard to use the scale panel to reduce it. So don't forget, the icon is supposed to be 14 pixels. So now we're back to it. So now this is one. So the next step now is to bring in our YouTube icon. So now we search YouTube. So now the YouTube icon has appeared. We just have to click, then copy PNG. Then that's indicated that we've copied. Then we'll go over here, do the same thing. Then hit paste to replace. Then hit K on your keyboard and change this to 40. So now we've been able to create this. So the next thing we are going to do is to let's turn off our layout grid to see what we've done so far. Alright, we've made progress so far. So I think the only part which is left now is to create the bottom nav bar. So we are going to quickly do that outside. So don't forget, we're going to create a frame holding the width with the same width of the home screen or the home frame. So we're going to change it to 375 and change it to our background color. Our background color is 161616. And then we're going to change it to navbar. So now we've done this. The next thing is to create a frame that will be hosting our icon. So the frame is going to be 60. The width is going to be 60. And the height is going to be 48. Yes, so we are going to name it nav link. And then we're going to turn off the light, or let's leave it on and add our icon. So the first icon we are going to add is our home icon. Then we'll go over to free and change and look for our home icon. So this is what we are going to click on. So now we have successfully brought that in. Then we'll center it properly. Then we're going to center it properly. Now we can turn off this and then edit this. Let's just give it a white fill. We are going to edit it after everything. So we'll push it inside here. Then let's just give it like, for now, let's give it 1616. Or let's just give it 20. Should be 20 up, 20 down. Then we'll duplicate by holding Ctrl D. But if you're using a Mac, you can use Command D to duplicate. Then I'm going to select both of them and apply auto layout to it. Then I will duplicate into 5 places. 4, then this is 5. So now we are going to add auto layout to the nav bar so it can hold everything properly. And then we're going to add like padding of 20 and 20 up, 20 down, and 20 on the sides. Now for the nav links, let's rename these to links. So for the links, the auto layout that is holding the links, we are going to set it to fill. Okay, it's already in fill. So the only thing we might need to adjust the containers of those nav links. The nav link, we're going to change them to fill also. Yep. So you see, we've gotten this now. So since we've gotten this, now we can now proceed to the next phase. Let's see. Let's give it a top and bottom of 16. Yeah, I think this is okay. So that the next step is now to change each of the icons we have here now. So for this, we're going to change this to transaction. Let's go over to each icon again. I can see it here, so I'll just click on it. So we'll click on the second one. The next one is plus. So we can select any plus sign. So then we'll go over to the next one. The next one is, we're going to use the chart there. Yeah, so this is what we are looking for. We'll just select it. So finally, we're going to click on the user. We're going to find the user icon or profile. Let's see if user pops up, the user icon. Okay, yeah. All right. So we'll just click on that too. All right. So we are done with that. So for the center button, we're just going to change the center button. We're going to change the fill. We're going to turn on the fill and change it to our primary color. And then we're going to give it like all round. And then we're going to change this because the home is the one that is currently active now. So we're going to change it. We're going to add, let's come over here and edit it because it won't work from there. So we're just going to add a fill and remove the strokes. And then take this vector to the top. Yep. So this is it. So now we've finally gotten our nav bar. So the next thing is just to drag it inside. Yes. Then position it properly. So now the final thing that we're going to do is just to add a little effect to it. Shadow effect. So let's change it to our primary color. I think this is okay. We're just going to change this to 32 and then change this to 12. Yeah, this looks good. Let's just play a little with the corner radius. So we can just click this and change this top to 16 and change this side also to 16. Let's see how that looks. Alright, this looks okay. So I think it's too visible. Let's change that. Let's change the opacity to 8. Yep. I believe we are done with this. So now if you've made it this far, thank you so much. I really appreciate. So do well to subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Because your subscription is another way of showing me support that I'm doing a good job and you want to see more of my videos too. And if you have anything you think you might want me to explain or any design concept you might want me to explain, you can drop it on the comment section. You can drop it in the comment section and I will review it and make a video about it. So thank you for your time. Thank you. See you in my next video. Peace out.